Good morning and welcome to the fifth quarter AZ. I'm your host, Tyrone Johnson. And before we bring in our co-host today, I'd like to go ahead and just send our thoughts and prayers to the Neal family. Coach Neal's father, Eddie Neal Sr., passed away at the age of 91. Coach Neal and his siblings were able to be there. Most of his siblings, I believe, be by their dad's side, and just know that their dad was loved, and the love that he had for the family showed in them coming together. And so, Coach, family, you're in our thoughts and prayers. And so we wish y'all all the best, and let us know if you need anything during this time. And so obviously Coach Neal's not here, so we got to go with our other Mr. Reliable, Mr. Everything, Mr. Flagcoco, Russell Woods. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing excellent, my friend. My thoughts and prayers go out to the Neal family. I saw Tasha's Texas last night, so I know that he finally passed. So my thoughts are definitely with Danny and Tasha and the entire Neal family today.
Absolutely. And this might be the first time you coming in clear. We can hear you clearly. You got a crisp picture. You looking good. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, no internet fuzz, no in and out, no echoes, but knock on wood, the show just started.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So give me a little bit about what you're following, what's going on. I know as the seasons wind down in terms of fall sports, we got volleyball wrapping up this week with regular season. Football still got a couple weeks. Cross country, everything's coming down to that time of the year where everybody gets excited for playoffs and, making that cut.
Well, last night was the season finale for volleyball. Flag High beat Coconino in rivalry action 3-1. So that's it for the regular season. Now it's coming down to rankings. Flag High is ranked 10th. They're in good spot for the play-in round. Hopefully, depending on how things figured out around the state, maybe they get up to number 8 and they can host the first round. Coconino is ranked 26th. It's going to be a little tough for them to get in, but same thing. If they get enough help from around the state, who knows? They can slip in that number 24 spot, and once you get in, anything can happen.
Absolutely. I know. Just when you look at it, you have the rankings and the system and everything, and it all depends on strength of schedule. You can get a win, but if somebody's ranked below you, that can actually bring your power points down. Somebody can get a loss to a team that's ranked high, and that bring their power points up. And so the final placement should be out today, and then we'll know here soon or this afternoon who's going where.
Yeah, maybe the just playing Flag High might knock them up a spot, and someone else gets knocked down one spot, and there you go. It happens like that all the time.
Absolutely. And then we know on the football front it's looking grimmer and grimmer that either one of the schools are going to make it in. I don't know exactly where they were ranked, but I believe they were ranked outside the top 20, maybe.
Coconino's number 20, and they're going to have to win out. And they've got they got Bradshaw Mountain tonight. They're in first place. They lost to Bradshaw last year, 14-0. And then they got Prescott, who was everyone's pick to win the region this year. And then they got the rivalry game at Flag High. And that's going to be a little more dangerous than I think Coconino wants to think. I mean, Coconino's won the last 5 against the Eagles, but Chase Brown could be dangerous. Quarterbacks have picked apart Coconino's secondary from time to time. So, if Chase Brown gets hot, Jake Whitinger, Holden Senna, Jaden Wetzel, if they're all catching and they're running and they're doing what they can do, it's going to be a game. I look forward to it. It's in 2 weeks, November 10th at Cromer Stadium, and everyone says for a game like that, just throw away the books, but that's my job, is to hold on to the books and tell you exactly what to expect.
Yeah, definitely hold on to the books. And irregardless, like say, of the records or of the rankings, there's always something to play for when you have a rivalry like Flagcoco. And so, everybody's going to come, everybody going to bring their A game, especially in football, because it's just one game per year. Cromer Stadium, like you said, this year. And so they're going to play. Somebody want to hoist that city trophy.
Well, yeah, Coconino's hanging by a thread for a playoff spot, so I'm sure the Eagles want to be a spoiler. But they're also building for next year. Chase Brown, we keep talking about as a freshman. Jane Wetzel is a sophomore, and they've got things they can build on. Give them a year in the weight room and get some linemen, beefing up a little bit, and get ready for 2023.
Absolutely. So, do you got anything on cross country and their meets coming up?
Well, this year they're going against each other. It's not like past years when the Eagles are in Division 2 and Coconino's in Division 3. They're head to head this year. So they'll be going at sectionals on Tuesday, head to head. Tuesday in Glendale at Heroes Park, and then week after that, 11 days after that, is the state championships at the Cave Creek Golf Course here in Phoenix.
Well, we definitely wish them luck, and just all the fall sports as you close out seasons and go into your sectionals or into your playoffs. We want to wish everybody the best. And then, of course, on Monday is the start of winter sports, and that brings basketball, that brings wrestling, that brings soccer. And so I know a lot of the winter coaches are excited about the opportunity to begin another season. And our guest today was a winter sports star coming up through high school and everything else. And so why don't you go ahead and bring our guest on for today?
I've known our guest since he was a sophomore at Flag High. He graduated in 2016. He lettered in basketball and football, and he's gone through college, and now he's starting his own business. It's a pleasure to have Bridger Hershey on the show today.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Excited to be here.
All right. How you been? How you doing this morning?
I'm good. Staying busy like we talked about before the show. I'm excited too for the winter sports season to show up here and in the next week. Get everyone out in full stride. We're gonna hit the ground running pretty fast, but I'm excited to be on here. Kind of talk shop with you guys. But I've been busy. I started actually recently a job with Shamrock Foods as an account executive. I'm kind of sales rep with them, but I also, as Russell said, I do my own business, Bridge Performance Training, where I like to train a lot of the youth athletes within Flagstaff. I've got some guys going to college and some that are in high school. I've even done a little bit of the middle school route as well as some hockey players. So it's all different sports, different areas, but it's been super fun. It's rewarding to make those connections and to have those relationships, but also to see them in their respective sports and kind of go to that next level as well. As I've got a couple guys in college, one going to a big school up here in January as well. So it's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's real cool. And give us a little bit about your background story, just about you, about coming up, being a local athlete, playing football, playing basketball, just everything that you did, and kind of what led you to where you are today.
Yeah, so grew up in Flagstaff, born and raised, got a few generations here. A lot of people know my grandpa's a doctor here for NAU. My dad and mom were both teachers here as well. So had a lot of good relationships, had a great time growing up in a town like Flagstaff. I went to Flagstaff High School. As Russell said, I graduated in 16. I lettered in basketball, football. I actually lettered in cross country as well. I started out as a cross country runner. I was pretty good in middle school and decided I was going to run freshman, sophomore year in high school. An awesome team, but played basketball. That was kind of the main love. Played that for all 4 years. Was on varsity as a sophomore. And I played with Tyrone's son, Trevor. And that's when we made that state championship run. Lost in the state finals, but after that, our junior year, lost in final 8, something like that. We made good runs the next few years as well. Deeper into the playoffs, but never could get it done, sadly. And so that's kind of one of my things about coming back to Flag High and wanting to coach is finishing that quest. And but also just the love for the sports program. And I know when I was a player in high school, that was one thing that our coach at the time was James Kirk, but it was one of the things where I was like, this is something I wanted to do. I had a passion for it, and yeah, I had a good career. I only played 1 year high school football. Um, One of my good friends, Zach Bierman, you guys know, had passed away. He was a year older than me, and so a few of us basketball guys, kind of instead of putting all of our eggs in one basket for our senior year, we're really focused on basketball. It was kind of like, he had passed away, gave me his cleats a week before he passed away, and it was kind of like silver lining. I was like, I got to go play for him. And best decision I made. Had a lot of fun. Played football. Had a good year. We beat Coco. Got to put that out there. But the rivalry still runs strong. I still bleed green. But yeah, then I went to play college football at Western State in Colorado, Division II. I ended up having a labrum full repair on my anterior and posterior shoulder, and only playing 1 year of high school football was kind of tough. Going into a whole different system, we had coaching change around. So I realized that I wanted to do other things. So I realized that I wanted to do other things with my time in college. As much as I thought. Didn't love it as much as I thought. I came back to NU graduate from NU. I came back to NU graduate from NU in exercise physiology, and from there I started my business training. And I've been coaching. At Flag High. This will be my third season. I was the JV head coach of the basketball team the last 2 years. This year, I am going to be stepping into an assistant role with both JV and varsity, just due to the new job. The job training itself may conflict with the season. So it may just be this year, and I might be back in that role next year. We'll see what happens, but I'll still be around helping out as much as possible. But yeah, it's been an honor to come back to Flag High and kind of be with all these guys and build those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having former players come back, and especially after you went and you experienced some things, and then you can come back and you can bring stuff to the program that may have not been there when you were there. I think the lifting aspect and everything, that's a huge component. And in basketball, just historically, we haven't necessarily made that a focal point. So with you being there, being able to make that a focal point to train the guys, girls, and other athletes, I mean, I think that's huge.
Yeah, it's honestly it really is the night and day difference. I didn't really do a lot of it in high school, and it was probably one of my biggest regrets. I wish I did, or I mean I did, but I just didn't know what I was doing. In respect to my sport and to how to get stronger, more powerful. But I mean, through college and even just still playing pickup hoops, my knees feel great. I feel strong, powerful, and so it's been 9 day difference, but it's also seen these athletes. For example, one of a couple girls in the basketball program, Story Betts and Bella Burkhardt, Coach Shane Burkhardt's daughter from NAU. They've been working out with me, and just seeing them and how much stronger and agile they've gotten. And then, got Nick Morrow going to Cal here in January in a couple months, and he's gone from 255 to now he's at 275, 278, and he's 6'8". So it's cool to see those strides and gains, but it really does play that X factor role, I believe. And the goal is, in the springtime to be working with a lot of the boys basketball program. We did some stuff with the girls basketball program as well in the spring, in the off season, strength training. So I'd like to continue that trend up and build out time for that, because I think in the off season, especially, it's time to get that's where, get the meat and potatoes of build speed, build vertical jump, build durability, and get stronger. So it's an important aspect of the game that a lot of people overlook. But, this day and age, at the high level of performance we're seeing, you got to be there. You're either on the train, you're on the bus, or you're not. And so it really is going to separate a lot of teams and a lot of individuals.
So does Bridge Performance, in addition to strength training, is there also a nutritional aspect to it?
I can offer nutrition advice. I actually work at a gym in town, part-time called Evolve. We have a registered dietitian, so she's awesome, great resource. But I can offer advice. That is a big part of the strength training realm. And I see it all the time. You get student athletes, not eating the best lunches and or not eating enough. That's the biggest thing. I talk to Tyrone about it all the time. Like, I talk about with these high school athletes, you want to look like a grown man, you got to eat like one. So it's you got to eat more than you think because you're in school all day, you're walking around, you're running a lot in a sport like, for example, basketball, and you're constantly moving. Metabolism is going. So it's these guys got to eat. They got to replenish, but they've got to eat good. They got to hydrate a lot. Sleep is another big one. That's really hard. Teenagers are sleep deprived all the time as it is. So it's like trying to put that phone down at a certain time every night, get away from the blue light. So there's a lot of aspects that I try to preach and harp to my guys while I'm in practice, and let them know. Maybe it goes in one ear, goes out the other. I can't control all that. I'm not at home with them, but the goal is definitely move that way. So and I let parents know too. I'm like, hey, we should be eating this, this, and this. You know, Probably not the best idea if we got it 2 hours before a game and we're just down in loads of. And some people, there's just debate on it, but it's not for everyone when you're down in loads of pasta and just in this carb load and feel like you can't move or something really thick. So um, there's a lot of stuff there, but I try to do my best to get across some certain points.
And how would people who are interested, having listened to you talk about what you do, how would someone get in contact with you to start a program with you?
So I do have a website. I need to do some changes on it. It's at bridgeperformancetraining.com. But also, a lot of people, it's been word of mouth, have my contact information or email. You can email me at bridge.performancetraining.com. I also have an Instagram social media that's very active. Got quite a few followers through there that I like to post videos, like to post kind of just different transformations, progress updates on these different athletes, highlight them and their successes in their sport as well. Work with mountain bikers or swimmers. So like whatever it may be, I try to do that as much as possible. And so that's a great way to contact me, especially if you have Instagram, and I'm on Facebook as well.
Um, we were talking about basketball. How you were
Yep.
on that a sophomore on that 2014 team that made to the state finals.
Hmm.
Uh, and you mentioned Trevor because, of course, Trevor was the big name, but you had Brett Morrow, you had Bailey Stevens, Connor Estes. What are some of the things you remember about that team that made that maybe a little more special than some of the other teams you played with, Flag High?
Um, well, I mean, even that year and the year following, I would say my whole 4 years, and it's something that, I'm trying to, definitely, we're trying to cultivate at Flag High right now. We were inseparable, I would say. We were best friends. You couldn't separate us. It was more than just a relationship on the floor, and I think that's what cultivated such a great team. We all had each other's backs. It was at times you have egos and stuff, but it was like if we want to make a run, it was a lot of times like leaving the ego at the door, understanding your role on the team, and then moving from there. So I kind of understood my role coming in, like as a sophomore. It was play play hard on defense, be scrappy, make those hustle plays, get some shots up when I needed, move the ball, be strong, don't turn over the ball. And that was my role because we did have a really strong, solid senior class. But it was understanding that and then providing that energy. So when I talk about being egoless and leaving the ego at the door, a lot of times, if you're a sophomore, you may not see as many minutes as some of those seniors, and we had a talented senior class, and Brett Morrow and Caleb Sandoval were also sophomores, but they got some more minutes, and they were outstanding players. But it wasn't gonna affect me at all. It was like I'm gonna bring the team up. I'm gonna be, even if I'm on the bench, I'm gonna be the best bench player we have. It doesn't matter where I'm on the floor. That was that was the mental status, the attitude I brought. Was if I'm on the floor, I'm gonna try to be the hardest working guy on the floor. If I'm on the bench, I'm gonna get the guys rallied. We're gonna bring energy, because then it just brings up the morale of the whole team, builds that camaraderie. Because you feed off that bench energy at a big away game in a tough environment, or you come in and make a few plays that boosts the energy. So everyone kind of understood their role. We were a very close knit team. We spent a lot of time outside of basketball together. I think that's super important. Um, sometimes I've seen, teams in the past or I've heard of other organizations where it's just there's head clonking, people not getting together. But I was never really a thing with us. We all had each other's back. It was a family atmosphere, and I think that's what really separates those really high level winning teams, and I think that's what brought us so far too. It was really cool, really cool.
So Bridger, when you talk about that 2014 team, let's go back to the state championship game. Now that you've been out of school, now that you've coached a little bit, when you look back at that state championship game, is there anything that you would have done differently, game planning or anything like that? Or do you think that y'all had the right game plan and it was just obviously for Shadow Mountain to be? And it's not, and let me put it out there, it's not to discredit any coaches or anything like that. It's just once you grow, like when I came out of high school, there's things that Coach Riley did that once I grew and played at another level, when I came back to coaching, I did stuff differently, and it was nothing against him. It's just that I saw the game differently and so on and so forth. So I'm just curious if you look back with your coaching background now, anything different.
Yeah, there was definitely, so we played Shadow. They definitely came. Their mentality, and they won a lot of state championships, but it was very in your face, full court pressure the whole game, kind of defensive style. And I really love that kind of style, but we didn't handle it the best. I think it kind of got us rattled a little bit to start, so we could have maybe calmed down a little bit to start in the game and understood like hey, we know we've been through a lot, we've made it this far, but kind of going back to the basics of maintain composure, put a lot of pressure on us. We made some turnovers that led to runs from them, and that's what they capitalize off of. They're going to get a few stops, few steals, and then they capitalize. They're going to bring energy, and then they're going to make a quick run. They also shoot the ball really well. Maybe switching up some defenses would have helped. I definitely believe, throwing different things at them. Could have tried like a matchup zone. There's definitely certain things that you could look back and say we could have changed. But I think downright that game, they brought it to us. they were the better team, I believe, that day. I would love to go back in time and do it all over again. But at that day, I they're a tough team. They played really hard, and I think at the end of the day they wanted it. That's the one thing is you get to that situation and you can't be obviously can't be complacent, but you make it that far, you want it, but at the end of the day, you got to go to that next level. And they brought it to us. They wanted it more, and it's a bummer. It's a big regret. It still stings to this day. But hopefully, in future time we can make that happen at a coaching level. But you can always go back and look at things. I think they just played the better team today, and it was a tough one.
Yeah, no, they were definitely a talented team from top to bottom, and everybody that they had in, and so you guys would need to play with energy and play the best game that you played all year, and have some things go wrong for them. So they were that type of team.
Yeah, they were tough. They were beating Division I teams like Corona del Sol that year. They were the top of the top, and it was we knew what we were going into, and it was tough. But they talked the talk, so they backed it all up, and it was tough. But it is what it is. We moved on, and so it was super fun while we were there. Super cool experience regardless. The game before was the highlight. It was still most unreal. Still got the video on my phone today. It's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I was there, and when you talk about that game, we the only thing anyone talks about is the shot Trevor made. And I was at the game, and I remember the first thing when Connor was taking the ball out is just somebody touched the ball. I know he was going to launch it down. Somebody touched the ball, so maybe if things went wrong, the clock would run out. Because if no one touched the ball, Tempe would get the ball under their own hoop, and who knows what they could have done. What are some of the things Coach Kirk said and did that have stuck with you, and maybe you've been able to use in your own coaching?
Yeah, he was a big fan and advocate of getting us so close. He recognized that. I think it was kind of cool bringing, guys on younger. He saw, and he kind of knew I had a really close group with Brett Morrow, AJ Brain, Caleb Sandoval. We were all very close in like middle school and as freshmen, and like really inseparable. We spent every day after school together, always spending tournaments together, but it was super, very close knit. So he saw that and he didn't want to split that up. So he brought us on as freshmen, sophomores, and so forth, and let us grow through the years, and, at those high levels. And so I think that was really positive. There was a level of discipline. There was a standard, especially during that sophomore year. That's where it was set. It was like, hey, we have a very talented team. We got to understand that we can do something really special with this. And so it's just having that pride in performance, and like I said, go back to what I said earlier, understanding your role, not being complacent. If you want to make a deep run in the state playoffs, if you want to have a high listing, if you want to have a high seed, you can't just take games off. Every night in, night out, you build those habits. And it's like if you play hard. I mean, I remember there was a game we broke 100 points. That was pretty cool during that sophomore year. But it just showed that, like, we got on a run and we started playing really well. But that's just going to generate good habits going into the postseason. So it's like you can't. I'd rather be, I always say, consistently good than occasionally great. So if I show up every day, put my best foot forward, I'm consistently good rather than being occasionally great. Like, we're going to make strides. That's the biggest thing. And, we go back on my mind, played like every game championship. You saw them every game. And that's how we played as well. And that's how it's got to be, I think, with our team, we're at Flag High, the men's team. And that's what we're trying to preach is like, you can't have games off because, like you were talking about earlier in the talk show with football, rankings move so much depending on the team you play, and the guys team has a very tough schedule this year. I mean, arguably one of the toughest. I mean, we play, St. Mary's, Mesquite, this defending champion. We play some really tough teams, St. Catholic. And so we're going to have to bring it night in, night out. There's no off nights. We have to be mentally prepared, physically prepared to play our best. And so it's, it's like I said, and it's in practice. It starts in preparation. That's where it's got to come. So I think that's what I've been trying to get across to the guys. I want consistently good guys in the program, and guys that want it. They're gonna work hard. They're gonna show up. They're gonna execute, and we want those high achievers. We don't want mediocre people. We want high achievers at all times. So
that's good stuff. We're coming in at that point in the show to where we're wrapping it up and everything. I think you've already, like what you just said right there, you dropped some golden nuggets right there in and of itself. But we have a segment where we give a golden nugget question and you leave the audience with, a piece of advice, hopefully that they can, that'll stick with them and they can utilize and move forward. And so I don't even know if he's ready because I typically ask the question, but Mr. Flagcoco be bringing some good stuff. So I'm going to do like Coach Neal. Da, 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 da. The golden nugget question of the day. We're going to bring it from Mr. Flagcoco.
Well, I don't really have an advice question, but we were talking about rivalry action, volleyball last week and football's coming up and cross country. What are some of your memories about playing Coconino?
It's intense. You gotta really leave, and especially when you're going into it young, like I said, sophomore year type thing. You gotta leave the nerves at the door. You gotta get some composure. You gotta sound all that out. But more than anything, you gotta want it. Like I've got good friends on the team still to this day, and it's really cool. Like you guys have been seeing a lot of former players at both Coco and Flag Eye come back to coach. Good friends, but when we hit that hardwood, it's we're not friends, we're enemies. It's that mentality that's gonna beat that other team. It's like, hey, I'm guarding you for 94 feet the whole game. I'm here to beat you. It's 1-on-1, and that's that pride and performance I talk about. It go you really at that point, it's Flag versus Coco. It's bragging rights. It's the city rivalry. It's the greatest rivalry in Arizona. It's fun. All your friends, family are there. Peers and students, and so you want to make a statement, and you don't want to be you want to be squashed. Okay, you want to be pushing the pedal down, bringing it. So I try to, it's all about leaving that at the door, but sticking to the game plan, executing. But more than anything, it's just like it's right in here. It's who's got more heart, who wants it more, and it's like at the end of the day was never gonna. I couldn't let my friends from across the city beat me, so that was my goal. And we had a pretty good run in against Coco when I was in school. So yeah.
And that's a great segue segment. I mean, we want to end it, but this year looks like, and I don't know if it's going to change, but it looks like we're going to be playing separately. How do you think that's going to affect the rivalry? So when the boys are at Flag High, the girls will be at Coconino.
Oh, is that official?
I don't know if it's official, but that's what it's looking like on the schedule right now. I'm hoping that that's not it, but if that does go, how do you think that's going to affect the rivalry?
I'm not a fan of it. I like having everyone together. I mean, that's my thing. Is like, I mean, I understand with the new shot clock and being separate, and section games and stuff. It is. You have that 4 or 5:30 and that 7 o'clock game. So, and everyone gets to play in that main gym. That's nice, but I mean, I like when everyone's together. It brings that atmosphere of like you get to see everyone in town. It's the main event. Everyone shows up for that girls' game. You pack the house. But now you've got people in conflict of interest. Oh, I want to watch the girls. I want to watch the guys, and it splits it up. It will definitely. That's sad if that goes through. Because that energy is something that I want everyone to experience that plays on both teams. It is a fun time to be in such a loud and tough environment to play in, no matter what school you go to. And I think it'll probably defeat some of it. It's going to hurt that. And so hopefully that doesn't fall through. But you just got to still, like I said, stick to the game plan, play your game. So
yeah, absolutely, got to play your game. Hopefully they'll make it to where at least that game can be like it's always been, because that's what makes the rivalry so special, because of the turnout in the community when these two schools play each other. And so, Bridger, again, man, we thank you for being our guest this morning. We appreciate all you do in the community. Would you give us your website one more time?
Yeah, www.bridgeperformancetraining.com. It's all going to be one word. And then also I'm on bridge.performance on Instagram as well, so you can follow me there.
And appreciate everything this morning, and I'll be seeing you around the court, and best of luck this year coming out.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you guys. Appreciate having me on.
All right, Mr. Flagcoco, another great show.
Getting better all the time too.
That's it. I'm telling you, Chris, you look good. So we keep this camera on you, man. We're gonna have to have you as like primary host. I mean, your graphics coming in better than mine.
No. I'm fine being second fiddle to you and Danny. I'm good coming off the bench.
All right. Anything special you looking forward to this weekend?
Other than working and drinking my water and saying my prayers, I don't have anything for this weekend. I'm kind of bracing myself for going up there in 2 weeks for football, and if I can sneak out Saturday, go watch the state championships in cross country, and get ready for the holidays.
All right, that'll work. Well, again, Coach Neal, we thinking of you and the family. We keep you lifted in thought and prayer. Anybody, if you like the show, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, leave us comments. We want to do this show. We want to bring you content that you enjoy. And so we appreciate you tuning in. I don't know what everybody got to do, but I do know one thing. You ain't got to go home,
but you can't stay here.